What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez. I am back with another NBA player prop video for you. Today's Monday, June 12th, 2023. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. We're kicking things off in different ways. You can see the outline for today's video on the screen. Starting things off by going over our partnership with Thrive Fantasy. Then we're diving into the Prizepicks board to go over some plays that I like for tonight's Game 5 between the Nuggets and Heat. So if all that sounds good to you, you like the way this looks, I encourage you to stick around, drop a like, sub up, and click the notification icon. Go ahead and get notified of all upcoming content and videos from me and my channel. And without further delay, let's jump into our partnership with Thrive Fantasy. All right, partnership with Thrive Fantasy, 100% deposit match up to $250 just for using promo code Chavez. Enjoy a very, very friendly payout structure over on Thrive, meaning more money for you when your slips hit. In addition to those perks, for being a new user, signing up using promo code Chavez and depositing at least $25 in your account, you'll gain access to a free square. Pair that square up with just one other play to damn near guarantee 3.2x your entry amount, or go for the largest payout you can get on Thrive Fantasy at 20.2x your entry. Go 5 for 5 in your slips. And start off on the right foot over on Thrive Fantasy. But regardless of how you do it, make sure you do it using promo code Chavez so you can enjoy all the perks, all the good things, only over on Thrive Fantasy. All right, over on the Prizepicks dashboard, here are 6 plays. I actually have 7 props that I like. We're not talking about all 7 of them, but I do want to show you what these are. Here are the props that I am eyeing for today's slate. And I also like this one as well. Jimmy Butler, 6.5 free throws made. I'm not able to add that to the screen because you can see that I've already selected 6. But I like the Jimmy Butler free throws made prop. But if you got what you want, then I wish you the best of luck. If you want to stick around and listen to a few of these breakdowns on why I like these props, then buckle up because here we go. We're going to start off with a fantasy score for Nikola Jokic. I like the under on this one. Sounds a little weird that I like an under, but I think unders are ignored because they're not sexy and they're not fun. And it's almost like you're rooting against a player to not have a good game. But I don't care because I don't know these players and they don't care about me. So we're simply playing the prop. You know, we're not wishing ill on any human being out there. So I like the under 60.5 fantasy score for Jokic. Let's head over to props.cash and see what we can find out. All right, a few things stand out to me about this prop for Jokic. Now, I will let you know that I did play the under on his fantasy score last game. Now, it was at 63, which is a bit higher. And I played the under on that one, and he fell under that prop. So I was happy that he did not hit that prop because it is a little scary playing the unders, especially on, you know, superstar players like Jokic. But let's look into why, you know, this under is a playable prop. So we want to look at his points during this series. Gone over his point prop twice, gone under 2 times. We'll find that Jokic does take games over when the Nuggets are down. When they really need scoring, he really will step it up and take it over. He's capable of that. But that's not his game. That's not what he does from start to finish. So it's very situational. In terms of his rebounds, we've seen his rebounds be pretty consistent. This is a huge outlier game. You know, he hasn't gotten close to, 15 rebounds, let alone 20. But very consistent in grabbing you at least 10 in each game in this series. His assist is what really drops off. We've seen some up and down games from Jokic, 14-4, 10-4. Let's look at this together and kind of piece, what a fantasy score could look like for Jokic today. So I personally believe that the Nuggets close this game out. I think the Heat are tired. They're exhausted. They should be. They've played the most games this entire playoff. Have you thought about that? That they've played literally the most games as a play-in team. They lost their first play-in game, and then they just went on a roll. I mean, they've played the most games. They've played more games than the Nuggets have, and I can't imagine how tired they are at this point. I understand that we want to view these guys as superheroes, and they have this, extra level, but I don't think that's the case. These are human beings, and at some point they run out of gas. And I personally saw them run out of gas in that last game. They didn't look good. They looked slow. They just looked tired. I can't stress that enough. And so when I factor all that in, and I just don't think that the Nuggets are going to have to really beat the Heat tonight. I think the Heat kind of beat themselves. And if that's my narrative, then I don't believe that Jokic is going to be needed to get us 60 fantasy points. So if he grabs 20 points, let's say Jokic scores 25 points tonight, and he does get you 12 rebounds because he is capable of that. 15 plus 25 is 40 fantasy points. Now his assists are kind of the dark horse. That's 40 fantasy points right there. If Jokic goes out and gets you, 10 assists, that's 15 additional fantasy points. That's 55 fantasy points. Turnovers, he's good for at least 3. So we take 3 away from him right here. That's 52 fantasy points. Now his steals and blocks last game were a bit higher than we've seen in the past. I don't think he gets us 6. Can he get us 2? It's been his average, roughly 2. So that still puts him under 60 fantasy points. That's how I see it being played out. You can argue that the reason he didn't hit his score last game was due to his foul trouble, but I'll counter your argument and say fouls are part of the game. Foul trouble is part of the game. When you pick a fantasy score prop or any prop, you shouldn't be hoping for the perfect ideal game. 0 missed shots, no foul trouble, bad defense on the other team. That's all part of the game. So he missed his fantasy score last game because he missed his fantasy score, and that's the only reason. So I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to go under Jokic 60.5 fantasy score as our first prop of the day. Then I want to talk about Jimmy Butler's field goal attempts. I like the under on this one. I'm taking a lot of unders in this game, and with good reason. We can head over to props.cash and look at this together. All right, the Jimmy Butler narrative. So Jimmy Butler can't go out like that. Jimmy Butler is going to step it up. Jimmy Butler is going to take it over. Jimmy Butler, isn't going to let his team lose. Jimmy Butler is a dog. Jimmy Butler is himmy. We've heard all the narratives. The fact of the matter is he has yet to do it. And I understand, again, going back to the whole, we want to believe that these players are capable of taking it up a level, taking it up a notch. But I just don't believe that they have enough left in the tank. They being the Miami Heat. So when we look at his points so far in this series, gone over his point prop just one time this series. We don't want to look at his shot volume, though, because we're looking at his field goal attempts. He's hit this field goal attempt prop one time. That was the game where he scored 28 points. He scored 28 points on 24 attempts. This is not close. This is not close. This is not close. We have to paint a scenario where the Heat can keep it close. They're in this game because if the Heat are down 15, 20 points, I don't believe that Jimmy Butler is going to shoot them back into the game. The Heat have to be in the lead or within a few points, and Jimmy Butler will see an increased shot volume. We've seen his threes go down as well. I'm not sure what this is attributed to, maybe fatigue, but I'm going to stick with this because the numbers show that Jimmy Butler, for as much as we want to believe that he is going to come out and be him, he has not been him this season or this series. So I'm playing the under on this one. This did get bumped down from 21.5 to 20, but I still like it at 21.5 because the push potential there. And again, he's only gone 21 or over one time in this series. 21 or over. I'm not talking about drinking alcohol. I'm talking about his field goal attempt. So give me the under 21.0 field goal attempts for Jimmy Butler as a second prop on the day. All right, let's talk about an over. Let's talk about a more. I like Jamal Murray's 8.5 assist. Even though this got bumped up to 8.5 from 8, I still like it. Let's talk about it over on props.cash. All right, this stat is not a fluke. So let's look at the overall playoff production for Murray. He's experiencing incredible success dishing the rock. We haven't seen this all playoffs. He had two games against one game against the Wolves, one game against the Suns where he did touch 9. The rest of the games he's peaked at 8 and giving you roughly an average of 5. It hasn't been until this series versus Miami that we've seen this type of production. So after the first game, maybe you thought it was a fluke. Maybe the second game you thought, okay, it can't happen again. But by the third game, we're bought in. Then he goes and does it again in game 4 with 12 assists. He's doing this at home. He's doing this on the road. He's doing this when they win. He's doing this when they lose. It doesn't matter. Why not keep taking the over on this prop? It's similar to the Michael Porter Jr. rebound prop that we kept taking the over on versus the Lakers. Prizepicks refused to bump it up to that 9.5. So we kept getting it at a really good number, 6.5, 6, 7. And we kept taking the over on it. And I think this is a very similar line. Even at 8.5, I like the over on this one. And I think Jamal Murray is a big reason why the Nuggets close this game out at home. I'm just going to keep rolling with it. So that's going to be our third prop on the day, taking the over. Jamal Murray, 8.5 assists. All right, so we're not talking about all these plays, but again, listen, Bam Adebayo, we're not breaking this one down, but I do like the under on his fantasy. Jokic, I like the under on his field goal attempts. KCP, I like the over on his blocks and steals. And we talked about Jimmy Butler's free throws made. Maybe I should have wrote this one up and talked about it in more depth, but here's, I mentioned this one in the previous video. The Heat aren't winning these games at the free throw line. They're not winning this series at the free throw line. The Heat have to make open shots. They have to make threes. They have to beat the Nuggets. They have to outscore the Nuggets to win. But Jimmy Butler getting to the line is not a thing in this series. Now, if he goes out in this game and makes 7 free throws made, I can live with that. But this is super telling. And this is not a trap. Typically we look at the all red or all green as a trap. This is not a trap. This is just the way it is in this series, and I think Denver has this number. So I'm willing to roll the dice on the under on his free throws made as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and checking this out. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you like on this board, as well as your thoughts on these plays that we discussed in today's video. Best of luck to you all should you tail any of these plays. And until my next player prop video, Chavez is